plus 15 return or block. I'm gonna tell you right now, we did not have a plus 15 return. Well, technically we did, but with our punt returner, we were not plus 15 return. We were on basically our fourth punt returner for majority of the year. So had some bad luck with health there. So that's what ultimately changed our approach each week. And I do apologize for some background noise. You know, my daughter's kind of running around here. In terms of the mindset, as we talk about game changing, right? This play can affect the scoreboard right here. And that's really what I try to preach ultimately after ball security, is trying to really affect the scoreboard, whether through a block or return, and hopefully creating the effort mentality, right? Whether you're blocking a guy for the returner, you're blocking a kick, all right, whatever it may be, just having that effort built in through that statement, all right? And talk about personnel. Each week it could be different, all right? We do try to change our look, our, blocking, rules, assignments, scheme. We do try to make minor changes each week so we don't look the same to opponents. Whether we're starting with guys stacked, moving them up during the cadence, we're showing all these guys up front, 10-man line of scrimmage, and now we're pulling guys off during the cadence to, just show different things. But speed, blend of skill types, and then grit being the three things we're really looking for. I think I caught the end of Coach DeMike's presentation. He showed you that guy was scared to block it. Well, that's where the grit factor comes in. It comes in busting your ass, 30 yards downfield after maybe you get beat on the line of scrimmage, and trying to get back in phase to help our returner, spring one. So I have this kind of broken up in different phases of things. I hope that's all right. So preseason, our goals, we're trying to identify the core guys that have that ability to block kicks, whether it's through, and I'm looking at 10-yard starts, the first 10 yards of a 40, not ultimately the 40. For the speed guys, the COD, the shuttle, short shuttle, are things we're definitely looking at for guys that might have, based on physical attributes, measurables, an ability and opportunity to block a kick. Guys that can just get themselves there athletically. Freshmen, trying to give them a chance to stand out, knowing that this might be the one thing they do all season. So they might have a more investment in that role because they're not doing anything else. So they'll know what they're doing, how to do it, and, take real ownership of it. So we do try to find some freshmen, whether it's a home game or if he's a travel guy, on this team. And then through preseason, I'm actually trying to figure out blocks. We're a shield team. So I'm working on different things that give our punt team troubles to hopefully carry over in the season when we're facing the shield team. Whether it's rugby or straight shield, I'm working on that stuff during preseason to see what gives what I think is a good operation problems. So talk about stance, and it looked like Coach DeMike had the same approach I do, is foot opposite the ball's up. It really, for me, more often than not, because we face a lot of shield, that's what I want. There might be a week where I say, okay, it's all right for you guys to have the near foot up, but ultimately, okay, we're going to have the foot opposite the ball up, okay? And we're usually always in a 2-point stance. The reason for me not going to a 3-point, it just has to do with the mug. It's a lot easier to mug people from a 2-point. And we can still show great demeanor, block demeanor, chest and chin over my toes, sprinter stance, the whole deal. And still have the explosiveness to get to a block point, even if the operation is elite. We can still get there if we're following our techniques the right way. Obviously, angle, pad level with get-offs, the angle being most important. And you'll see a couple instances here where guys took great angles, and even though maybe they're getting blocked, because they took that great angle to the punter's leg, they were able to be a factor on the kick. And then pad level is something we're continuing to work on. It's still not where I want it to be, and you'll see a couple instances where we even blocked the kick and the pad level's not great, just through effort the kid got there. But that's definitely something that's always, being preached from a 2-point stance, especially. And then we're talking about mug technique. Coach DeMike was talking about hand placement. For us, we're really trying to hide the hold, but we are coaching holding, all right, in terms of trying to keep inside hand placement. No, we're probably going to be able to hold if our hand placement's inside the chest longer, right? Just like as a receivers coach coaches, that side of it, and that's definitely what I'm stealing from with that demeanor. And then we talk about feet when you come to balance and you're square playing that basketball defense, playing mirror drill. And that's a big part of our mug segment in the circuit is playing mirror drill from a holding position to get that feel of when to let go and now start working to trail technique. And then in a perfect scenario, we're working 2 hands to 1 to widen, right, with the long arm to hopefully in that given week, we're usually teaching a basis of we want the puncture, right? We want our punt returner to have the ability to get vertical right now. So that's where that widen in and the long arm comes in. And then I talked about it before, alluded to before, the hip to trail, okay? Well, we're looking as we lose or we start to get in phase now of the return, okay? Our eyes should be going to the returner first, okay? He's taking us to the football. And now I understand where maybe the guy that I'm blocking's angle has to be. So I can start to envision in my brain where that intersection point is, okay? Because I see the punt returner starting to settle up, or I can see his demeanor start sprinting forward. And I know I might want to slow play this a little bit and keep my eyes on him in case he muffs it, and I could be a factor on a recovery. So kind of different philosophies there depending on the punt returner's demeanor and what we're trying to preach to our guys, okay? And then finish in terms of this part of the phase or this particular coaching points, body position at the end in terms of low hips, great athletic position, the power angles. And then this is our guys, and maybe you guys struggle with this too, is if you lose and you've lost, like you've gotten stacked and you have no shot to block that guy at a certain point, stop chasing him. Stop chasing the back of the jersey. Get your eyes back upfield and bank on our dude being elite and making that guy miss. Block the next guy. So that's something that we're still struggling, in year 2 of me being here, to get done on a consistent enough basis to be where I can say we do a great job with this. So again, some of the stuff we do in our circuits. So this is the mirror mug, and we do start with feet square, feet even, hands inside, holding them. So first whistle, it's activating the guys just moving laterally. So we get that feel of what the hold, okay, can be. And then we tell the guys to release with a second whistle. So now when you feel that guy's broken your hold, let go. Stop holding, okay? And everything here, same kind of preaching point to this unit as kick return is time equals yards. The better job you do at the line of scrimmage, the more opportunity our punt returner has to improve field position. So once these guys feel like they've broken, it should now go trail the hip. You see the kind of the guy at the bottom of the screen, 46, probably doing the drill the best here. Okay, and now making sure, and it's probably the first group that did this, that long arm here, that hand now should be on the shoulder, starting to wide hand, but really just focusing on the mug part of this, okay, and not really focus on the long arm here. So love to see these guys keep their base into the framework. Some guys have more athleticism and don't necessarily have to, like our guy in the yellow here. He's just probably a better athlete than that guy. His base is a little wide. It's not necessarily shoulder width apart, but ends up being able to settle himself really well. Now you're getting your long arm to widen here. So focusing on the arm being high to the shoulder pad. And again, same thing. Once you feel that arm come on top, let go, recoil your arm so you can keep your body control. And now just get in chase phase. Get your eyes to returner, find them, and now you know where you need to go in terms of getting between your assignment and the ball. It's the same thing, just from the other view. So you really see it. And I like the guy's eyes here too. Okay, we talk about anytime your hand is on a shoulder, keep your eye there so you can see that offensive player or the now defensive player pulling his arm on top so you know when to recoil it. Well, I don't want their eyes at the hip at this point. I want it where their hands are. They can really have body control and awareness to when their block might be defeated. Okay, to be able to pull that arm back. Okay. All good? Cool. All right, block technique. So, from our standpoint, knowing the protection scheme. And as we break things down, as we look at opponents, I'll kind of go into what I'm, usually trying to decipher each week based on the opponent. All right. Are they a boundary front side protection team, of a field side protection team where there's a punter doing a good job with his directional kicks from just being square behind the shield? Does he have to point his body outside the shield? You know, really trying to figure that out so we can adjust our angles to the block point as we need to. Because your angles are going to change some weeks. And that's why we always don't preach the same angle each and every week. Some guys, you might have to get, you know, 2 yards from where he originally lines. So you know where your guys have to bend. You know that maybe that week we need to put a big skill guy in the middle and rush the shield because that guy has a long stride on his approach, and just knocking the shield back can block a kick. So really trying to figure out overall what the protection scheme is with the shield, with the punter's operation, and then where they're trying to set, okay, their front side or back side, their man side or zone side. So we know who's coming free and how can we outnumber their personal protectors, maybe their wing if they're a pro style, all right, or their shield, okay? And then grab the towel is a drill we do for kickoff and punt block. The grab the towel is, as it says right there, ripping the arm to the ground to reduce surface area. So even though you're to the front side, if you do a great job with this, you might be able to block a kick, okay? Because those guys are in a hurry, right? We always, as punt unit teachers or guys, we're trying to preach those guys, get in coverage. And sometimes you'll face an opponent where if they feel like they just get hands on you a little bit, they're out. They don't ride you. They don't do a great job staying on the block to ensure the kick. So if our guys do a great job grabbing the towel and getting their body level, pad level low, okay, and rip through to reduce their surface area, we have a shot. And then again, going back to, you know, Coach DeMike's, you know, kind of points, which side the punter on, knowing to stay, same side, cross face, okay, shooting the hands to the foot, all right. And then something we, you know, I forget who I saw it from, but I know it was an in-league opponent. I think I saw it my first year, so 2018 season. You know, they were playing games with the shield where guys would come free. And you'll see one of the kicks we blocked this year was just a little, it wasn't crazy. He just weaved one of the shield guys a little wider, or made him stay a little wider with his track. And that the other guy now, that the PP was blocking, stayed opposite shoulder to open up a gap, and then that guy just ripped through and shot through the open gap and stuck his hands out. So that's something we work as well, especially in preseasons and through the practice week, if that's going to be a thing for us, where we're weaving, you know, opposite where we want to go and then shooting through the gap, relying on, you know, that shield not being disciplined, staying tight, reducing those gaps, reducing those areas where we can, you know, have a crack through there. So this is basically saying backside, chase the hip. All right, so really we're trying to work on cadence here, work on our creep in terms of our scheme, and they're getting a cadence here from Coach Lark, our DC, and now working on with this outside foot. Oops, sorry. And this clip is a little jumpy, I apologize. So I'm trying to slow it up. And you can see our inside guy here is not doing a great job chasing that hip. But still, 46 is giving a pretty realistic look here in terms of his urgency. Not necessarily the footwork, but the urgency to try to block him is very difficult. You know, 54's angle is a little better, and really just working on this skill. Because sometimes in a game, and we do change it up where it's a real life situation, hey, you don't know where it's front side or back side. And now we're working chase the hip or grab the towel, and really working on this skill. We see a lot of shield punt. You know, it seems to be the primary thing most college teams are doing. So this skill is something that can be developed, and something we focus more on, to be honest with you, than actually getting to the block point. This gets you to the block point. The skill of blocking the kick sometimes is a guy has or he doesn't, but this is something we feel is the difference maker between actually having a chance to block the kick. So it's something we really focus a lot of time on and developing, between being backside of protection or front side. And you'll see this inside guy. I don't know if you can see my laser here showing up. 16 is actually the guy that will show up a lot. He was an All-American, blocked 3 punts, forced 2 fumbles on special teams for us, had a bunch of tackles. All right. And his get off is just elite. And that's what separates him. He does a decent job sometimes throwing the shoulder here. But, I mean, you can see it. 59's trying to get there, has no shot. Just the stress that can create on teams. So here, I'll try to get to grab a towel here. You see the towel thrown in here now. All right. So now the blocker should be working to the rusher, as you see here. Just give him a pressure to feel it. Really trying to throw that shoulder. All right, and we'll, like I said, we'll work this kickoff as well, so there's carryover. It's carryover coaching, carryover teaching, carryover execution. You know, in terms of approaching on kickoff a block where you're actually opposite to where the turn's going. So now these guys have to U-turn is what we call it. So same kind of approach here where it's kind of a circle-ish, you know, approach to the block point. So really good job by 13 here. Bringing that front foot, getting low, throwing the shoulder down. That's pretty awesome by 13 right there. That's pretty much what we're looking for. Any questions with those two drills or those setups or those philosophies? Okay. So obviously first thing we probably look at is operation. Can we get there? And my point to you guys, even if the operation's elite, you can get there. Bank on the scheme. Bank on them, you know, your scheme being better than theirs in terms of finding the way to outnumber them to the block point. Getting an advantage, a numbers advantage. And I think we blocked a kick that was in the 1.9s, 1.8s maybe. You'll see it show up. I have the op times on there so you can see it. So in my opinion, it doesn't matter what the op is. It's just nice to know to add extra motivation for guys each week. You know, hey, we got a great challenge this week. I don't think you guys can get there. Or, you know, in terms of one team we played, their operation, unfortunately, you know, for that team was not great. So now I know, hey, guys, should we chomp at the bit this week? We can get there. You just do a great job with technique and finishing. And then in terms of changing by field position, we know backed up it's going to change a little bit in terms of the overall operation. Okay, so having a feel for that, but also just in terms of the sky punt. You know, as I really look at opponents' punt teams, and even our own, right, and selfishly, it'll change sometimes. It'll get much, much slower. And from my standpoint, that tells me I might want to be aggressive this week, even though we're plus territory. And being smart with the D&D, but, you know, sending some guys after just to make sure that punter feels us a little bit and not letting him have the comfortability to be able to, you know, take his time, pin the opponent down there and do his thing. And then snap indicator. You know, some teams, whether it's all of a sudden the long snapper locking out his arms, you know, maybe he sinks his hips just a little bit before he is about to snap it. Maybe it's something to do with the PP who's calling the cadence. Maybe it's something in the shield. But maybe there's something that week that can tell our guys when to stem, when to get to the appropriate, you know, alignment where we're going to be disruptive to the block point. So, or get a team out of a fake, right? Because we're ultra aggressive, but maybe we can align in such a way where we can take away the block by alignment or take away the fake by alignment. And now we can still work our blocks in because we have an opportunity to stem into. And I said this a couple times, how can we expose the scheme? The personnel. You know, maybe the scheme's really good, maybe the operation's really good, but maybe there's a guy on that team that's just not quite up to standard, not quite up to par in terms of making that punt unit elite and unblockable. So always trying to find ways, you know, to expose the opponent. And then just still being sound versus fakes. Okay, so making sure we have different elements built in. Maybe the opponent's looking, hey, how are they handling this first punt? And they see us do certain things like, okay, the fake's not in this week. Where the block point is, as I talked about, sometimes depending on the protection scheme, the punter might change where his approach is. He might kick actually outside the shield, depending where the front side is. Maybe he stays behind the shield, right? Maybe this long snapper is a little bit all over the place. And now you have to really coach your guys to be careful and really have their eyes to the punter to see where their block point's going to be. So each week it can change, really educating our guys on where that block point, to the best of our ability, is going to be, just to prepare them. And we talk about in terms of mugs, who the opposition's best cover guys. This for me, some teams will put their starting linebacker, their best defensive player on there. Well, That guy's going to get double teamed. We're going to wear his ass down for our offense. We're going to slow his through 4 quarters. If they're punting a lot, that dude's going to be tired. And that is definitely something we will look to do at times in our mug scheme is if they have a starter on defense playing their punt team, we're going to wear that dude down. We're going to have, tiers, ladder drills. We're going to work the crap out of that dude so that he has to ask for a break on here. And now they're pulling a second team person in, and our guys are aware of the personnel. They pull a second team in. I might come after that kick now, knowing they pull the guy off the sideline who now's blocking for their punter. And then just anything that we can do to make our punt return scheme that week really good, whether it's a change in our return philosophy. As I talked about, the base is we want to puncture. We want to get vertical right now. Try to get a first down, return them. But maybe this week it's, hey, they are front side to the boundary. Let's flatten all these dudes into the boundary, returner, attack the field. Just run lateral to the field right now. We're going to flatten all these dudes down for you. How do we set alignments? Making sure we're sound in terms of always having an edge, at least as it appears before the ball's snapped, okay? And then if this team has a fake history, okay, how can we get them out of it? Where are their fakes coming from in terms of the looks of the opponent? Can we do something in our alignments to make sure that they're not going to do something, okay? And then it goes back to finding your block guys, okay? So our first game when we blocked a kick, it happened to be one guy and another guy who blocked the kick. 16 wasn't a part of that in terms of the first 3 blocks we had in the year. So now we have 2 guys that have definitely shown the ability to block kick, and then 16, who we think is our best block guy. We're going to move those guys around so you don't even know where our block side is. And that, to me, is a huge thing as well. No, we've got multiple guys, and now we can trigger that each week to change up who the guy is or who the side is, okay? And then who do we have access to, in terms of travel away, home games for us, we have more access to players, to depth. So always having that as well in our mind as we game plan here. So for our call sheet, we're going to probably carry 1 return. We're going to be real base with that, just do a great job trying to win one-on-one matchups, all right, to not overload our guys. Our setup is not as special teams friendly as other places I've been. So we have to be real efficient, real cognizant of not overloading certain guys, knowing that maybe there are some starters on defense or offense, and being really, simple in terms of what we're doing. And like I said, as we became a block mentality team, the return definitely went to 1 a week, and now blocks 1, and then maybe there's a change up, okay, that's similar, but there's maybe 1 or 2 guys changing their description. And that way now we've set up 1, and now maybe the second block is a way to come home because we got them thinking, okay, we've seen their mug, we've seen their block, we're good, we know what it looks like, and now here comes the curveball, okay? Carry a safe, and some teams have their defense out there. We do not, okay? We will have the punt return team out there. It's mostly filled with defensive players anyway, but we just feel like in terms of being efficient with coaching, having those same guys out there, it's just our philosophy on things. It's not right, wrong, it's just what we do. And then a max block. This is something I wish I had done early in the year, especially first game. I think it's after our first game is when I started carrying this each week, and it doesn't change. But it's something where it was the end of a first half, and there was an opportunity to max block it, and we just didn't have it ready. And I'm kicking myself still this day not having it ready. So we'll always carry a max block in each week. And it's the same thing. Our guys know where to align. They know where to go. It doesn't change, okay? And obviously, if we ran it in a game, maybe I would change it, but we just didn't get to it after week 1 of having to use it, whether it was a late first half thing or an end of the game situation. So showing you my scouting report here. I'll try to go through this because I know you guys want to watch film. I don't want to take too much time here. So it's nothing to overload the guys. It just gives them a feel for, and I talk about a little bit statistical rankings. Is it net punt terrible because of the punter, or is it bad because their coverage isn't good? So you see here, the couple of opponents a couple of returns they've had, this team was letting up 18 yards in return. That tells you something. And it tells our team something in terms of creating, again, a mindset of if we get our guys on mug, we've got a great shot for a huge return here. And you could even see the punter's leg, 37 yards average. So, really having our returners focus on that element a little bit so they can envision where I need to align from a depth standpoint. Okay, and as we talk about game week, the returners, we're talking about weather and wind and all that, especially at Harvard Stadium, because the wind is a different element. Talk about the snapper just so they can prepare themselves. He's accurate. He's on point. He's, I talked about before, he's all over the place. Don't know what to expect. You got to really be great if you're on a block point, okay, and you get free. You really got to have your eyes to the punter's foot and where he's at to be able to adjust your landmark, okay? The bigger thing here is just, is he a good cover guy? And that's really how we structure a return. We start off with the long snapper. Is he a guy we have to account for in our punt return scheme? No? Okay, returner, you got him. So now it also gives us the flexibility to double team a better guy. Maybe it gives us an opportunity to double team, another, two guys, whatever it may be. It just gives us an opportunity now if that guy's not a dude. Like I said, we talk about the punter and then the backup. So they also here, we talk about shield personnel, right? A lot of fakes in the shield sometimes come from direct snaps. And, C teams sometimes substitute shield members real quick and you don't see it. Our guys understand who the shield guys can be and maybe who the athletes are that have shown up on film. And really talk about those guys. That's where I focus most of this attention is on their scheme, on the shield personnel, how they respond on a consistent basis with protection. Okay. And then cadence, any kind of things there with the block notes. Can we see the cadence on tape? Is a guy holding out his mouthpiece to talk and then putting it in and then squatting down and going. So all the block notes that give our guys an opportunity to study it, we'll have it there for them. And any kind of mug notes that show up that week in terms of we know where the front side is going to be, anticipate running to that dude full speed with block demeanor, hold his ass, drive him into the other sideline scrimmage. And then the fake notes, where the fake notes can come from. This punter, they're not running him. It take him a while to get going now, so he's not the fake opportunity guy. It's going to come from the shield or it's going to be a reverse type of situation, whatever it may be. So just be alert for that stuff. And just an example of a drawing here, we set our guys with a T side and an A side, just where we're trying to set alignments. So we're different in terms of, each week trying to set our fronts. So it could be to the punter's foot we're setting the T side to. It could be this certain number individual. It could be the field. It could be this surface area, whatever it may be. Our guys do a really good job. This is why we keep our call sheet small, is so our guys really know where they're going to be in terms of the side. Okay. And it just seems to click for them. T side, A side, and we've got guys echoing T right, T left. It doesn't mean that T side's always the block side. Okay. So for any, you guys that are in conference here, right, we're going to play. Just because you hear T right doesn't mean it's coming from the right side. All right. So it's just our way of getting aligned, setting alignments. Any questions with that stuff in terms of how we're game planning, scout report? All right. Hope it's okay with you guys. I'm going through all this stuff. Game week. So how we're set up, Wednesday is the first time we'll introduce punt block. It'll be really a quick meeting just to, get the personnel right, make sure guys know where they're going to be in terms of letters and numbers. We have this out from the field so they can get aligned quickly. And then I'm kind of putting them, okay, in the exact place I want them to be. Okay. And in terms of their finished alignment, I might say, hey, you can start out here, but make sure you get to here. So really emphasizing this is where I want you to end up when the ball snapped. After that, I want you aligned outside this position, but then get to here. Or give them the freedom, certain guys, where they're just moving around all over the place and then end up here. So they might not have they might have particular guidelines if we're stemming of where they can move around and how flexible they can be with that. And then just going through on Thursday, as you see here, going through all our calls, the mug blocks, fake, safe, the max block, get it all done. We got 7 to 9 minutes on Thursday to get it done. And then Friday, there's no walkthroughs. Friday is all video script. So, that's the element. So Wednesday and Thursday, really we're getting at most 14 minutes on punt block. So like I said, really trying to be efficient with the call sheet so our guys know what they're doing, and at least assignment-wise, they're going to be pretty sharp. Okay. All right, getting some film here. So we talk about the pro stylish, and this is kind of as close to it. And Holy Cross is probably the other team that's close to the pro style. For this type of element, it's sometimes tough to see what the man side and what the zone side is. So really making sure guys understand, okay, if this guy blocks you, you got him. Other guy this guy could block, make sure your demeanor, is to the block point. So we don't know who they're going to block. If one of you two guys, both you guys act like you're going to block the kick. And you'll see that kind of hurting us, I think, here with number 2. And I think he's highlighted. So right here, number 2 actually ends up being free here. And if he's not anticipating blocking this guy, he wouldn't fall over himself. Okay? And we've got a 2-on-1 on this PP dude. We got what we want. Now it's a block punt. So really emphasizing that in the pro style especially. It's a little bit harder, especially in my mind, to decipher man side or zone side. Teams do have an easier job, I think, of hiding it. Okay? And they're also showing some mug stuff here. So watching 59 really get into the dude. He's not trying to play patient. He's trying to rush with great demeanor. And now he's got his hands inside and just holding the shit out of him. And now long arm to widen. So really great job by 59 here in terms of the teach tape that we talk about. Decent job by 35 as well. Holding, feels the guy win. Gonna let him go. And you can watch his eyes a little bit right here. He's getting to the returner initially just to see where that ball's kicked. Number 4 doing a decent job right here. Long arm to widen, feeling that shoulder open up and now taking a kill shot right there. Love it. Fortunately, we just, guy ends up being in the right place at the right time. Our guy widened him too much. But definitely could have had a block kick there. So forcing them to bring that guy in just to reduce the space here with the demeanor. And that's what we're trying to do. So even with the shield teams, teams that detach guys, we're trying to force them to bring those guys in. Not give them the field space, the opportunity for a one-on-one situation where we know that amount of space is really difficult for a guy to block a guy. So we're trying to bring as many guys down as we can to get them in these tight situations so we can funnel guys. And you can see our guys doing a good job stemming here. And they changed the blocking scheme on us. And this is where me, again, kicking myself with how I aligned our guys this week way too tight. Because now 37 can block 2 guys, all right, at one time. So I probably should have had this guy a little wider. And I made that correction a little bit later in the season. And we ended up outnumbering guys on the perimeter, on the edge there, and really had a block kick. So I should have had this guy kind of really more head up on 37, just run right into him to hold him, if that makes sense. So let me know if you have questions on here or anything. This will be another return element here. So really good job here getting into this guy's pads, being aggressive. And you can see here, right, that dude has great awareness to where the protection is, where that guy's going to go. That's an awesome job, just vision, anticipation, everything. As we talk about, we have guys at Harvard who are really smart kids. And we talked about this particular week, number 54 for Columbia, the guy who snaps the football, is not a guy who's going to make a tackle on our returner. So please don't block him. And what does our guy, who we say block most dangerous, do? He blocks the long snapper instead of number 27 here. If we block 27, this guy just keeps dropping here, doing what he was asked to do. And obviously that's on me not emphasizing it well enough. Okay? If he just blocks 27 here, we at least have a shot here for a positive play. At least have a shot. And again, going back to what we said before, our guys still aren't clicking with chasing the back. You can see 24 right here. He's ready to throw an illegal block in the back and does, and gets called for. Where if we just had 59 have the awareness here and look to his left, he can block 55. 35 is not chasing. He's trying to find guys. It's the unfortunate part sometimes of things. Another STEM team showing outside, making sure, again, fake to the outside is not there. Okay, you can see 16 here. Just setting this up for another clip. has the ball foot up, which isn't what we want. We want the other foot up so we can chase this hip a little easier and be a little stronger through here too. It doesn't do a great job ripping through and just gets smushed. And then the other clips are just great job in terms of 21 here being great. Okay, on the snap, jacking this dude up, 42, feeling that guy losing ground, stay in his pocket, forcing the separation now, and now working to get in phase. Number 8, jumping the dude, holding the shoulder up top. Again, right here, you know, and this is where it's difficult when the guy split out. 29, just have an awareness to the returner. Find the ball. Don't always worry about that guy. Because this worries me. If this is a fair catch situation, that this Cornell kid can run him into our punter, now we've got a disastrous situation. That's something I try to really emphasize to the guys more than anything as I see more and more of that happening sometimes. All right. So this was a week we carried 2 blocks. And this is the change up for us. And talk about personnel being a huge thing. Well, 59 is our looper here, and we got him. We schemed him up, and he's just not fast enough. 16 does a hell of a job here, taking the long snapper, taking the guard, holding the shit out of him, and getting 59 free to the punter's foot. If this dude's faster, we've got it. And this is something we set up. So we had a similar look here, okay, in terms of the same thing, trying to win versus the long snapper, so keeping these guys with their line. And then this was the change up, bringing 59 through to get them to set the protection this way. Take advantage of the long snapper not really being able to come back there. So that was, you know, that clip for you right there. And then talked about Brown here, okay. Really felt like Howard was struggling in their kick slides. And if you guys got really fast guys, you can take advantage sometimes of teams. And so as you look at this edge, this dude's a linebacker. He's in there to hold people and free up the fast guys, okay? So now, hopefully, as this guy is aligned so wide, this guard has no one to kick to right now. We showed this guy down just to hold the guard, okay? This guy is going to run into the center point of this tackle here, and he's going to turn over that inside shoulder so he cannot expand. So we've got 3 guys on these 2 right here. Okay? We ended up, okay, because their guy, PP, stepped up and doesn't see it. Our edge guys are too fast. This guy runs 10, you know, this guy runs 10.6, this guy runs 10.8. No shot to reset and get these guys. Dude thinks he's crossing inside. So we've got one guy taking up 2. Get the 2-on-1 because their PP's stepping up. And there's a scoop and score, or just a fall on it and touchdown. So again, talk about outnumbering. Want to outnumber this guy. There it is, 2-on-1, because this guy is making the unselfish play. He knows that week, hey, you're not blocking this thing. At least you shouldn't be. All right? You got to run through the inside shoulder of this tackle and turn this dude, and don't let him expand outside here. And great job by this guy working inside just to hold his attention a little bit longer. Fear of the cross. So just great execution for those guys right there. Great job by 49. All right, you see operation here, 197. Okay? And I apologize for the tight here. Biggest thing this week. There's a sky situation here. Operation 197. The punter, though, is at 13.5 yards. That's not good for them. So this was the week we're going to teach a dip and rip here with 16. We're going to occupy the PP here because we know certain 2 guys are going to come free. So we're going to widen these guys out and attack this shoulder over here with the PP, wind them out. We're going to run here to the outside shoulder of 81. And this guy has shown not to shuffle with them because he's on a man protection. So he's going to widen out and then shoot the gap. And you can kind of see him show color in the gap there. And this is something we saw. Their punter cheating up a little bit on sky kicks, and he takes it off the chest here. And sometimes it's not perfect block technique because he's getting blocked into the kick. But it's great job taking advantage and great technique, getting that guy to expand and setting it up. And I'll try to show from the wide here so you kind of see the change of tempo. So it punts from the plus 42. You see that little dip there. It's not much, but it's enough to hold that guy to be vertical here and shoot through. Awesome job. Although they get a favorable bounce, the ball's at 24, probably save some field position here, right? Gave our offense a lot more breathing room. So even though it wasn't a scoop, score, block kick, the type of highlights you see, it's an awesome play for us in terms of the hidden yardage of the game. And a great job by 16, a great job by our, big skill guy this week of getting the PP to really move to open up that seam. Really good job there. So again, 1-9-2 operation. You'll see number 16 being the guy. It's not stellar technique. He's got the wrong foot up in terms of what we want, so we can't really chase the hip here. All right, he's getting blocked. But as we talked about, this guy, his footwork's not great. His get-off's not great. He's working too flat on the backside. Keep fighting. You got a shot. And now he takes a great angle, almost overruns it, but he does a great job waiting until the last second to stick that right hand out and block that kick. Again, sometimes you coach good kids, they're knuckleheads. They're obviously coached not to go after this football. And 21, for whatever reason, thankfully we got it back. But just great individual effort there. And you'll see it again here. Ends up going for 38, but he gets a piece of it. Really trying to isolate, either way. This is a different guy this time. Cornell's backside was really trying to expose that because we saw a consistent technique of guys just not doing a good enough job working to the front side number, not doing a good enough job washing guys truly down to ensure the kick. So that was kind of really the focus point for this guy as he's working to the block point. Because most guys, you get blocked this much, they quit. They quit on the block point. And it's a 203 op. It's pretty solid. It's not elite. It's not average. It's solid, 203. Still gets a piece there. Shooting the hands right at the right moment. And obviously we play on turf, so they get a favorable bounce, unfortunately. All right, here comes some missed ones, missed opportunities. Okay, we had some two-shield of Penn. And this week was a little bit extensive with the blocks, I'm not going to lie. But we spent a little bit more time on it. And really, Penn did a great job of being in different formations. But we just had a base philosophy for guys to figure out. Is it a 3-shield scheme? Is it a 2-shield scheme? And then we got aligned to a certain way that made sense to the guys. We're aligned correct here. Okay? As you look at this picture, they're going to block 47 probably. What they showed on film. They're going to block 26. And then there's a guy right here that's behind our big skill. Okay? Who's he going to block? He's got a choice of 4. You do the math. We got 3 on 2 already. Already we've got them at a disadvantage because they kept their motion guy over here. So this is something I kind of look back, saw from their special teams coordinator that, hey, just because of how we're going to line here, they're going to keep their slot, their motion guy here. And we're going to have them outnumbered from the get-go. Understand it's a righty punter. Understand he's going to move. It's a little bit of a rugby-ish style of operation. Watch 24. This is where you're kicking yourself again. If he just has the awareness in his brain before the ball snaps, right-footed punter, work vertical, not where he catches the ball. He's going to move. He's shown it on tape. That is 100% a block kick. And he still almost gets there. So we've got 86 and 16 free because they expand. They're doing a great job with their angles. They're working these guys, pulling these guys to the rugby-style kick and making 24 or allowing 24 to have that space to really dip and bend here and block this thing. Missed opportunity. Because this would probably be a game-changing block. Like I say, he still almost gets there. It's not like that dude hasn't blocked kicks. He blocked 2 for us on the year, 24. Same thing. So you can see us kind of stemming to it now. So not showing it. They're bringing the motion guy in. And this is where if these guys got smart and they started bringing them here, all right, we still got you guys outnumbered 3-2 here. And now we can scheme. We can drop one of these guys off and mess with it to watch for fake in case they're trying to do any kind of slide screen stuff with that guy. You know, snapping the ball to the punter, because that's where I assume the fake would be. We would drop one of these guys off if they got smart and brought them over here. We just align this guy up, and now we've got 3/2 on the backside. Again, same thing, except now they block 86. So now 39. Here we go. And you can see from the get-go, his demeanor is not as full speed as it should be all the way through. So now, because of the disparity between him and him, he's able to push these guys to 24 who gets a piece of them because this is a bad snap. And if 39 just runs full speed from the get-go, and assume he's blocked, we have this thing. We still almost have it. Wow. So, again, should have been another block there, in my opinion. And funny, this is so it's in sequence here, right? The 3 I've shown you. That was the first one. The last one was the second one. They finally go 3 shield. Okay? Well, number 70 was not what we call a tough guy. And 86 for our team is a tough guy. So we told 86, put 70 into the punter. So we had basically a call when they went 3 shield. We just communicated, hey, 3 shield, 3 shield. Notice it's not the same block. We're looping through here now and really trying to put 86 into the lap. And that's what he does. Put 70 right into the lap of the punter. Because this punter's a little bit longer, has a big, a bigger approach. He wasn't as comfortable as this. And you can see the footwork, how much yard and space he eats up. And where we put 70. 70 wants no part of this dude. And then the one time you actually tell your guy to pick it up, he sees no white jerseys around, picks it up, and actually gets our long on the ear. And same thing, right? Same philosophy here. You watch our man 16. Stop chasing. Turn around. Block this dude. Stop chasing. Just block that guy, and we got a touchdown. Because these 2 fat guys ain't catching that dude. No, he's not. So it carries over. 16 just followed the rules, letters of the law, so to speak. Have an even bigger opportunity there. Any thoughts? Questions? Probably don't have answers.
Yeah, I got a couple. First of all, do you have a way to drill that dip on the shield? Do you drill that, or is that just something you more so talk about?
We do drill it. Like it's, in preseason, we're working it with I'm not going to ask a big guy probably to do that because he just doesn't have the quickness, the speed, the burst to be able to get there, be a factor. So the big guys will always be our bull rush guys. So I'm working that. Once I've identified the block guys, that is a skill we're working. So probably, a week in the preseason, I know who I want to try out as a block guy. And by that point, we're working that skill with those specific guys in maybe a pre-practice, post-practice opportunity because you don't want to do that with everybody. Right. And in the game week, we do work.
Okay. And then you mentioned, explosives for punt return. So taking a little bit away from that, how do you find explosives on other units?
How do I define them or how I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think, punt, kick return, we're probably going, especially our rules, like Ivy League rules now and kickoff return, they're not conducive to kick return being a factor anymore, to be honest with you. And they even adopted the rule now where the offense can just take the ball to 25. You don't have to kick off anymore. So that was a new Ivy League rule only. So it obviously changes some philosophies about kick return. But for us, it was probably plus 25 return. And that's going to put us pretty high in the country, knowing that if we take a knee or a fair catch, get the ball at 25, anything over, the ball being on 25, we'll take.
Gotcha.
Now, punt, we do explosive as anything over probably a plus 42 net average. So if we get a 42 and force a fair catch, that's an explosive on punt to me. That, we had a net, I think, of 42 would put you in the top 25 nationally. So anytime, anything that can put us in the top 25 nationally will equal an explosive for us. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I got one quick question right here. So what do you use for your coaching points when you're trying to block a punt?
Well, the big thing, as we talked about, right, we focus more on getting there. So what's the first step in getting there? Knowing that, as you saw on the backside, especially as shield teams, which we see a lot more of, that ripping through, having low power, that grab a towel, that chase the hip technique is really what we're focused on, especially in a game week. We're not, as I said, our time for special teams is a little bit smaller than some other places I've been. So we're really working scheme elements there. So in preseason, we're really drilling those two things: get there, get there, get there, and hopefully finding the guys we trust to get to that block point just through, as I said before, like preseason, I'll mix up our units, basically not always putting the starters on the punt team, but also putting good versus good on punt block to see who's great at getting there. No, we're going to lay off our punter, but who's great at getting there? Because that, to me, is when you block the kick.
Okay. That answers my question. And then for how would they use their hands to get to the block point? So what Coach DeMike said, when you make a diamond fist, what do you guys usually do?
Yeah, so we're putting our thumbs, trying to interlock our thumbs. So putting our thumbs together, pointer fingers, shooting the hands on the football in a perfect scenario. And as you saw there wasn't really a lot of perfect scenario blocks. There could have been, but there wasn't in terms of the blocks I showed you. So, it was those guys doing a good job, 16, shooting the one hand out, right? Having the eyes to the punter's foot and shooting his one hand out, same way. So still have, the coaching point of get your hands to the punter's foot. Eyes to the punter's foot. Those two things are the staple, but it's not always going to be perfect. You're going to get two hands on the punter's foot. So just being realistic in the teaching, is what has worked from no blocks in 2018, my first year as a coordinator, to 7 this year.
Coach, do you have a scoop and score drill?
Scoop and score. It's something we it'll be taught to most of the guys. Like we do a turnover circuit as a full team, so they're working generic, scoop and score. We talk about fingertips to the turf. Dragging your fingertips on the turf. Sinking the hips, trying to get it from the side, not square to the football, if that makes sense. So really trying to make sure our hips are actually trying to be parallel to the football as opposed to perpendicular. So we can be explosive out. And you see all the time maybe of guys that are running straight at the football with, pardon my language here, with their dicks pointed at it. It's tough for them sometimes to get those hips down and keep that body control. So we try to work, to the side of it, try to be parallel with the football, so to speak, and perpendicular to the end zone with our shoulder to get our fingertips to the turf, to be able to have that momentum to go.
Coach, I joined a minute or two late here, so you may have already covered this, but your rush stance, do you want the inside foot or the foot closest to the ball back, or do you not specify that?
Yeah, it can change in the week, but usually we teach at base, I want the inside foot back. I do. So you can see some guys taking some liberty at that. And like anything else, sometimes you have a guy who just do it. It doesn't matter. He can just do it. Like 16 just has a knack for it. And, hopefully without having a spring ball, we would have gotten better there, with him. But, he ended up just doing what was comfortable for him. But most guys should have, or all guys should have, their inside foot back, generally speaking.
Awesome. Anybody else? No, well, appreciate your time, Coach. It was awesome.
Well, no, I appreciate you guys. This is fun. It's a rarity right now. I get to talk football, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Anything, let me know. If I can help with anything, let me know. And obviously, as I get more access to film, if you guys want something in particular, I'm not against sending scout reports out for you guys to have them. I probably just won't have them labeled in terms of the opponent, but I'll send you whatever I have. I'm really not against sharing information at all.
Do you have any more of these scheduled coming up?
I do not, to be honest with you. Not that I'm aware of. I think I did a glazier with punt, so it went into some of the punt stuff we do that may be a little different, especially the coverage standpoint of things. So I know they record those things. I know sometimes they post them, so maybe there's something on there with glazier, with my punt stuff.
Yeah, we'll keep doing them through Teams Talk though, and there are a bunch on YouTube too. If you want to go through those, I've posted some of the ones that we've done.
In the back.
All right. Well, appreciate your time, Coach. And yeah, gave me anyway a lot to think about. So really appreciate it.
Cool. Have a great season, guys. Hopefully, and be safe out there.
Stay safe.
You too.
Appreciate that, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. You're welcome.